It is 12:30 p.m. I am just waking up because I was up till 4 a.m. grinding my cock on Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, one of the best games, I believe, that has come out this year. Are there issues with the game? Absolutely. Main thing being the connection when you're trying to play with friends. I literally might have played 4, maybe 5 multiplayer games in the course of probably 8 straight hours of playing this game yesterday. That was a hobnock to the dome. But other than that, the game is great. I've experienced absolutely no bugs other than, the bugs running around 24/7 called the Terminids trying to rip me in half. But other than that connection issue, I've really experienced no other issues with the game. I'm assuming that is getting fixed very soon. It's probably just because the large influx of players coming and playing the game on day one of non-early access, aka late access. That's when I'm playing it because I'm a broke little boy. But that's besides the point. Why is this game so good? And if you know me, you know the one thing that I care about more than anything, more than the story, more than the graphics, more than the atmosphere, and we'll get to that in a second. It's the gameplay and it's the combat. And holy hell, the combat is visceral, it's brutal, it's bloody, it's gory, it's fucking... it's gritty. I don't even know if I said that, but I'm going to say it again. It is so good. The impact of the combat is an impact that I haven't felt in an action RPG / shooter video game. It's not really a action RPG, but when you're up close and you're using the chainsaw or the chainsword, apologies Warhammer fans, I am new. But when you're using that chainsword and you are ripping the Terminids in half, when you're doing parries on the bigger Terminids that have like the 2 little sword hands, oh my god, it feels so good. When there's a Terminid jumping at you and it'll light blue and you just grab them and throw them on the ground or grab them and cut them in half mid-air. It's so good. It feels so impactful. You literally feel like you're in there with the big boys going crazy on all of these aliens, man. It is such a good feeling. And on top of that, you feel like you're in an actual war. You do not feel like, if you've ever played like a game like World of Warcraft and there's like 6 NPCs there and they're like, oh, we're in a war, and there's like respawning like 5 groups of enemies, you kill them and the war's over. That is not what we're talking about here. We are talking about legitimate swarms coming all over the walls, coming all over the walls, like literally 1,000 dudes. It's like the swarm from Halo, but cooler. Like, it's literally cooler than that. And when you are seeing thousands of enemies and you think it's like a skybox or something, or you're seeing 1,000 enemies and you think, oh, well, that's just the atmosphere. No, they're coming for you. You can shoot them all, and you have to kill them all to get to the next spot. It's like, I don't know, it's like around 100 of zombies, but they die in like 2 hits. And you don't just have one gun or one melee weapon. You have the combat knife. You have a giant sword. You have the chain sword. You have a big fucking hammer that you can beat people down with. On top of that, with the guns, you have this like thermal shotgun type of gun. You have flamethrowers. You have like big heavy like LMGs. You have the bolt rifle. You have the carbine rifle. You have pistols, normal bolt pistol, the heavy pistol. You have the plasma pistol. There are so many different guns in this game. In my opinion, a couple of them do feel pretty similar, but when you're actually out in the war, like, you can tell the differences and you'll find your favorites very quickly to take down all these swarms of the Terminids. There's also bosses that are mechanically different. I think the first boss that you fight is kind of like a tutorial boss, but aside from that, that honestly kind of feels like, if you ever played, Remnant 2, it kind of feels like a Remnant 2 fight, but you also have like another boss that goes completely invisible and you're getting like attacked by other enemies while that enemy is like invisible, like popping in and out of his little cloak and like attacking you. No, it is absolutely awesome. I would say the combat kind of is a little. I really think if you've ever played the Remnant games, it is very similar to the Remnant combat, because you have like the up close as well as the shooting, as well as you have like kind of like a Souls-like combat, if that makes sense. It's not necessarily at all Souls-like in terms of the game at all, but in terms of you do have your parry, you have your up close. There's a lot of that type of combat that feeds from, I think, the Remnant and the Souls-like type of games, which is a huge thing for me. And the game is also not a cakewalk. This game is hard. If I'm not even playing this on the hardest difficulty, I did a tutorial on the hardest difficulty and said absolutely not. I'm playing it on the veteran mode, so there's 4 modes. That's like the 3rd hardest mode, one down from the hardest mode. But I'm playing this with friends, and my God, is this game hard. The only thing I would say is they need to have more med packs in the game, and they need to have like, I mean, the ammo is not a terrible problem, but they need to have some more ammo in the game at sometimes as well. Like, you're just looking around for med packs, and it's almost more worth it to die than it is to just keep going with low health. Like, if you die, you come back with like 20%, but a lot of times you'll just be sitting at 5% after the first engagement. Maybe it's because I'm ass. Maybe it's because I'm booty cheeks. I don't care. The game is great. The game is awesome. I do like the difficulty, but I wish there were more pickups when you're actually going through the maps. Now, let's get to the atmosphere of this game. I am not, just to preface, like I mentioned earlier in this video, a 40K fan. I have not dove into the 40K franchise heavily. I think the last Warhammer game I've even played was probably the MMO. No joke. Probably over a decade ago now. But the atmosphere of this game has fully pulled me in. I'm borderline about to go down to the damn store and buy some little figures and start painting them shits, because I am fully immersed into this game, into the entire world of the 40K Space Marine franchise. It is so badass. It is so badass. It's so brutal. Like I mentioned, with the combat being brutal, gritty, visceral, that is the same with the actual world of this game. I don't want to spoil anything with the story necessarily, but every time you're walking through the game, you could just sit and look up in the air and see swarms of Terminids flying around, and you see these giant battles happening around you, and you just have to go through this insanely dark and gritty world and just pop off. You have to pop off. If you don't pop off, you're getting a giant alien stabbing you right through the stomach, ripping you in half. Like, the world fully pulls you in. Even when you're in your hangar, you feel that like kind of dark sci-fi fantasy type of vibe through and through. It is so cool. The character designs, the way the characters talk to each other, the way that just combat is the one and only thing these motherfuckers care about and want to do. Like, they just want to go in and they want to pop off, and they're trying to save humanity. And it's not the same type of humanity that we have now. Not even close. But it's the whole atmosphere and the whole like kind of lore of the environment is just, it really has pulled me in to borderline become a Warhammer fan. I just laid in my bed this morning. I wasn't feeling great. I'm tired as shit, like I mentioned, because I was playing this game till 4 a.m. And I watched an entire hour-long like lore video about 40K. Like, it's just so cool. But aside from that, what is there to actually do in the game in terms of game modes, in terms of content? So, number one, you have your campaign. Now, the campaign's only, I think, about 8 to 10 hours long, most people are saying. Some people are getting through it quicker. Some people, it's taking a lot longer because there are harder difficulties. But in terms of the other game modes outside the campaign, which has a single player and co-op component with up to 3 players, there's also something called Operations. Now, Operations is similar in terms of the type of missions you'll play in the campaign. It actually, if you play the campaign, you'll unlock different operations through the game that are kind of take place separate from those main characters in the campaign. And you'll play these side characters, which there's 6 different classes. They all kind of work together and have different abilities. You can choose different guns, set your loadout, etc. And you basically go and play these missions on different difficulties that are going to enable you to get different unlocks in the game. You also have a PvP mode outside of that, which is just, you know, your multiplayer shooter type of mode, which is also awesome. I think it's simple enough to be very easy to jump into, but there is a lot of skill. There is a lot of that skill gap. And when you're playing with friends, you can definitely work together. I was playing the heavy with the big, like LMG machine gun. I had a friend using the jetpack. So I would have this shield that I would pop up that nobody can shoot me through the shield, but I can shoot through my shield, right? And everyone's trying to break my shield. And I have my friend flying up in a jetpack above me and slamming down on them with the hammer. So they have to look up, they have to look back down, they don't know where to go. Like, we're working together kind of in that way to kind of pop off. We won like 5 games straight doing that. Now, that's going to get me to why I only played 5 multiplayer games in 8 hours. And that is because the biggest issue with this game right now is playing with friends. The amount of times I had to go in and click join game to play with my friends, it's disgusting. I tried for hours to join my friends. I finally did. It would kick me back out. I would be stuck in joining server, joining server, joining server, joining server, joining server for literally hours. Over and over and over and over and over again. And it would join the server when I joined my friends. It would join the server when I joined a game. It would join the server when I leave a game. I had to pass every one of those checks just to play and hop in another game if I finally happened to join my friends in their main lobby. It was insane. Fix that issue. Fix it. Please, 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 please fix it. It's not as bad if you're playing with the campaign. It might take 30 minutes to finally get in your friend's game, but the campaign seemed to work a lot better. Turning crossplay off seemed to work a lot better. The game codes didn't work at all when crossplay was on. It was complete BS. But please fix that issue. Please, please, please. Because other than that, the game is fantastic. When I was actually playing the game with my friends, I was having a blast. I didn't want to get off. I was up till 4 a.m. I haven't stayed up that late in years. I'm getting old, bruh. I'm getting old, bruh. And I'm still up grinding 4 a.m. That means it's a good game. It's a great game. Now, aside from all of those issues, the last thing I wanted to talk about is the customization and what you're working towards when you're playing this game. Now, there are a ton of different customization options. You can customize all your different little emblems and heraldries that are on your armor. You can customize each armor piece. Multiple different colors on each piece of armor. Like, there's like 30, 40 different colors that you can use. Some are primary colors that'll change your whole body. Some are like tertiary colors that'll change kind of like the different like accents of your armor. It's all super awesome. You can spend literally hours sitting in there customizing your character, and you unlock these by winning games in operations, and you unlock these by winning games in the PvP mode. I think you might get some stuff for campaign as well. But that's pretty much the main way you unlock them. So there's a lot of different armors you can unlock just by winning games, which, again, that I love because it's not just you have to play games and get XP. You actually have to win games, which pushes you to, play the objectives, try your hardest with your homies to actually win the game and not just kind of like fuck around, not playing with the team, things like that, which obviously there's moments for that too, like in Call of Duty. I don't always love playing the objective, but it is good that the game is incentivizing that type of play, that you actually have to win games to get these different unlocks. And then on top of that, you earn different coins that you go in. It's called like the heraldries. You go in and you unlock different armor, or you unlock different colors for your armor. You unlock different emblems for your armor. You unlock other armor pieces as well that you wouldn't get that are just winning the game as well. There's a ton of different things you can unlock. On top of that, there's different weapon camos, kind of like mastery camos. The more you upgrade your class, the more you use weapons, you'll be able to spend those coins to also get weapon camos and things like that. So all in all, there is a ton of different customization in this game, and there's a ton to work towards, and all you really have to do is play games and win the games, whether it's operations or PvP. So if you are a PvE player, you can do that in operations. If you are a PvE player, you can obviously do that in the multiplayer shooter mode as well. That's all I pretty much wanted to talk about. I absolutely love this game so far, aside from the joining server issue, which I hope gets fixed immediately. But aside from that, I'm probably going to go and play that game right now. I am juiced up, woke up, ready to go. Let me know if you guys are playing this game, if you guys have absolutely enjoyed the time that you've had playing this game so far, and I will see you in the next video. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and peace.